Now let's take a look at the file that has been created, echogame.java. So at the very top, you see that the slash and asterisk character here that ended here. So these are called comments in Java. So what are comments? Comments are some information or some description that you add to your code in order to have more understanding of what's happening in your code. So that's some help for yourself and someone else if they are reading your code. For now, I'm going to just delete the very first 4 lines of these comments because they are just about changing the licenses and they are not part of my class. So I'm going to just delete them for now. We're going to talk about how you can change the way that a class is created later. For now, let's just stick with the simple part of writing a program, and that is just creating an echo game project. Now on the line 3, we have something called package games.echogame. So now we can talk about what a package is. A package is a folder that contains Java files and some other source files of your project. So why we're creating projects? First of all, they can be used in order to organize your project. So you don't want to just put everything that you have, all of your classes, all of your files in only one folder. That's not what you do when also you are working with computers. You might have your movies some folder, your music files in one folder, you might have your application in some other folders. That's also the same thing in Java programming. So you're creating the different packages in order to organize your files. Later also we're going to talk about some other use of the packages, but for now let's know that they're going to be used in order to organize our files. After line 3 we have line 5 up to line 8 that again is another comment, and as you see all the comments on my computer, because I'm using the default theme, they have this gray color, so that means they are again comments. So comments are ignored by the compiler. So you might ask, okay, what is a compiler? Or in Java we say that it is an interpreter. So what is a compiler or interpreter? So the code that we write are in high-level languages. Okay, they're in, for example, as you see here, it says system.out println, hello world. So this code that we see here is very close to the English language, but computers need a more simplified version of languages. So they understand 0 and 1. They understand digits. So the compiler or interpreter will compile or will convert or will transform the code that you have written into the machine level code. So the comments, when we say that it will be ignored by the compiler or by the interpreter, it means they will not be transformed or they will be just simply ignored, and that will not be part of your code. So you can write anything you want inside, like the body of these comments. So here, if you want to have more than one line of comments, in case you want to explain something that needs more lines of explanation, then you can start with this slash and this asterisk one here, and then you can close it with asterisk and then another slash. That's going to be a multi-line comments in your code. Here I have an annotation. That is when it's started with an @ sign. So when you see an @ sign in a comment, okay, there's annotation. So here we're going to say who is the author of this code, and it's going to be me. So I'm going to change it to my complete first and last name here. And then I am saving the project. Or you can press Command S, okay, on Mac computers, or Control and S on Windows-based computers. So let's go to line 9 and see that what does it say. So line 9 is where my class starts. So what's a class? A class is a real representation of the real world concepts. For now, we're going to just skip and we're going to ignore most of the details about classes. Later, we're going to talk about the classes. But for now, as I said, we're going to just write a game, an echo game. So anything that will be read from the input will be just echoed, and we're going to just print that information. At line 11, we have a thing called a method. So a method or a function is something that does some actions. The main method that we see here is responsible to print something on the display. So here, system.out.println, and then here we have inside a double quotation, hello world is the thing that will be displayed on the display. We're going to talk about the system class. We're going to talk about out and println later. So here, this hello world is the thing, again, that's going to be displayed on the display. So let's run our program and see how it works. And yes, that is that much simple. You can just create a simple project and run it right away. So let's see how we can run a project in Java. There are several ways similar to the way that we create a new project. So here you can click on this run button here, or you can go to the run menu and click on run project. Or as you see here, you can click on F6 button on your keyboard in order to run the project. So I'm going to just click on this run project here in order to run my project. And I'm waiting for the project to be run. And okay, here we go. We have the hello world that displayed on my terminal window here. So there's a bunch of other information here. We're going to again ignore this information for now, but what we care is the output of our program. And as you see here, this green color line here says build success. That means our project worked without any problem, and that's what we expect. So we were able to run our first program that is just printing the hello world. Later, we're going to see that how our echo game works. Okay, now let's see that how we can implement our echo game. So here is system.out.println hello world. But what if instead of just writing hello world, we want to print any other information? So that's simple. You can just change whatever it says here to the information that you have. So here I'm going to write welcome to programming a game. That is the message that I'm going to print. So I'm saving my projects. This time let's use this button here in order to run our project. Or again, you can click or use F6 button here. So I'm clicking on this. So let's see what's going to be the output. And here we go. We have another message. Welcome to programming a game. So you might say, okay, can I print some other information rather than just printing this? And the answer is yes. So you can just write another line of code here, println, and just write, we will develop games. And here we go. We wrote a second line of code in order to print something on the display. So again, I'm going to click on this run button here to see what happens. And here we go. We have our message. We will develop games. So that's the first thing that we're going to learn in Java, how to print something on the terminal or on display. You can use the system.out.println, and inside a pair of parentheses, you can just write the things that you're going to print. If it is a text, you need to include your text inside a double quotation. That's how these sequence of characters will be seen or will be given to Java in order to be printed. So you might ask, okay, can I print a number as well? Yes, you can print a number the same way that you printed a text, but this time you are not putting the number inside a double quotation if it is just a number. So I'm going to just repeat what I wrote. So system.out.println, and let's say print number 10. And here we go. We see that number 10 will be printed. So let's run the project one more time and see what's going to happen. And here we go, the 10 that is added to the list of information that are printed. So can you print any other information? Yes, as long as they are printable. It means that we either numbers or strings or there are some information, we can print them using the println method. So println is also a method similar to the main. We're going to talk about methods later, but for now we're going to use some tools without knowing that how they are created. Okay, so now after we learn how to print something on the display, let's see how we can read something from the keyboard in order to complete or write our Echo game project. So I'm going to start with creating, or we're creating a new object. I'm going to start with importing something in my project. So you might say, oh, that's new. What's import? I guess that you have used some tools before. Some tools are immediately available to you. One, for example, you're doing you're doing some crafting, but some tools are not available, so you need to call them. Okay, what does it mean to call them? Means okay, and go, and they're in maybe there are dedicated shelves, and you want to just access them, or you might want to call someone just to bring some tools for you. That's what we're going to do by using a keyword called import. Keywords: package, public, class, void, static. These are some keywords. And why I'm saying that they are keyword means they are keys or words that are reserved in Java, means they are for special purposes. And as you see in my screen, they are in like a blue color. Okay, that means they are reserved. In your screen, if you have chosen a different theme, they might be different. So let's see how we can say to Java that, hey, I'm going to use this tool. Give it to me. After declaring the package, you need to use the import keyword. So import is a new keyword. So what I'm going to import a tool that's going to allow me to read some information from the keyboard. So let's do it. For now, we know that it's gonna be from this package. And again, we're gonna talk about it later, where this Java or util is and what this scanner class is. So we have imported the scanner class. So a scanner is a tool that we're gonna use in our program. That's how you're telling Java, hey, bring that tool for me. I'm gonna use that tool. I need that one. So you might say, okay, so why not the system that we just used out of nowhere? That's fine. As I said, there are some tools that are immediately available to you, like a screwdriver. You might have like always a screwdriver in your pocket. But some other tools, okay, for example, a drill might not be all the time in your pocket. So now you're telling to the Java, please bring me the scanner tool. I'm gonna use it. So here is the yellowish line, okay, that we're gonna disappear just in a few minutes. That's not a magic, okay? It's not gonna disappear by itself because we're gonna use it. So after using this scanner class or scanner tool, then this warning or the yellowish line below it will disappear. So that's a warning that usually these IDEs such as NetBeans, they're giving to us saying that you have imported or you have declared or maybe you have created something but you have never used. You know, Java or compilers in general do not like something that never used. They want to see use of something. So that's why if you put your mouse over here, it says unused import. So you want to use that imported tool. Or you don't want to just tell someone to bring some tools for you and you never use it. They might get mad. Okay, so let's see how we can use this scanner tool that we just imported. So here, I'm just pressing some enter and I'm writing scanner here, the same name that I use or the same tool here. And then here, I'm gonna say KB, that's a name. And then here, I'm gonna use the new keyword and scanner, and here I'm gonna write system.in. And I'm gonna say, hey, stop. Okay, that's a lot of information. Yes, I know, that's a lot of information, but don't worry. We're gonna talk about them later. For now, let's just memorize them. So if you want to read something from the keyboard, that's the way that you're going to define it. I know that it might be hard just to memorize something without knowing what exactly they do, but I think just memorizing one line is not a very hard thing to do. So here, scanner, and I have something called KB, using the equal sign. New is a keyword. Also, as you see, this also is in a blue color, and a scanner on the right side, and in a pair of parentheses, I have system.in. Let's say these are magic boxes, and we're gonna just unbox these magic boxes later. But for now, again, just see how it works without knowing how they are created. So KB is something that we're gonna use, okay, in order to read some information. So at the same time, KB is also called a variable. So that's another thing that we're going to learn. Variables. So in my next video, I'm going to talk about how to use KB variable.